Welcome to Bicycle Retail Radio, the bicycle industry podcast that brings retailers, vendors, advocates, and thought leaders to the mic for honest discussions about the latest issues facing retailers while taking an in-depth look at the person within the profession.
All right, welcome to the Flex. Today we're doing our Retail Design Flex. This is our ongoing podcast feature focused specifically on store design, remodeling, merchandising. We produce this in partnership with NBDA Association member Fixture Lab. I don't know, the reviews are in. People are liking this. Brian, how are you?
I am amazing. How are you?
I'm awesome. NBDA President Heather Mason here. Thrilled that I'm joined with Brian Hawkins. Brian Hawkins is from Fixture Lab. Fixture Lab has been in the bike shop design and merchandising field for years. They know it's hard. They also know what works. They create hard-working solutions. They have amazing, amazing fixtures, and they help you do things in a really cutting-edge way. FixtureLab.com. Brian, thanks for everything you do.
Oh, it's my honor. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is Fixture Lab Retail Design Flex in partnership with the NBDA. We do this once a month, and we cover the questions we get from retailers on store design. If you're listening and you're in the car right now, when you get home, you can go over to the NBDA YouTube channel. We'll also link in the show notes, and you can watch the episode. I think today that Brian has a bunch of slides to share as always, so definitely suggest going to that YouTube channel and looking at the images along with hearing the great advice when you can. Brian, isn't this super fun?
It is very fun, and it's so fun. In fact, I see people on the highway on their phones watching our podcasts all the time. They usually have them up on the steering wheel there, and they're just kind of,
It is the thing. It is the thing. I have heard from several retailers, several sales reps, like, oh, that's right, I was listening, and then I started looking, and then I knew I shouldn't be. So drive safe, take the right precautions. But definitely, if you have been listening and you're thinking, I want to send a video over, I just need to get to it. It's something I'm hearing a lot. Get to it today. Send it over. Brian and I will take any questions, any videos. You can write to us and send all that stuff to design@nbda.com. Brian,
the topics that you might send to us could be ones like these topics. My store feels like it's stuck in the 90s. What can I do? Right? I'm thinking of hanging 300 bikes from my ceiling. Is that the best idea ever? I found a jersey just now in my store that's from 1984. What am I doing wrong? I want to do big, gigantic action graphics in the store, but I don't know where to start. Those are the kind of questions we're talking about.
I love it. And it's true. We have had retailers sending us videos of their space, sending us pictures and asking, can you help? Do you have any ideas? And Brian always responds, oh my God, it's so great to hear from you. Yes, I would love to reply. So we're really doing great stuff. Episode 5, but today's a little bit different. What we did last episode is we gave homework to our listeners. We asked you around the topic of screen content management and digital signage. We asked you to send us your experience with the systems you use, thinking about menu boards, digital kiosks. We wanted to know what you were doing and if it's improving your customer experience. And we got a lot of responses, right, Brian?
Yeah, we got a lot of, it's not a huge sample size, but we got a good number of responses to this thing.
So we asked you, we got responses. We even helped by sending out a little survey, asking very specific questions. And I would say it's pretty ground shaking what we got back, right, Brian?
Yes. No, it's just great to get a temperature of where people are at with the technology inside their stores. Should I go into what we found yet?
I want you to, but I have one more question. If
All
it's
right, do it.
okay. If you're listening, Brian has already started sharing his screen with some amazing content, but I just want to step back. Talking about digital graphics, menus, and signs. That's really easy to just be like, all right, we're talking about digital graphics. But what are we really talking about?
We're really talking, well, I mean, the whole topic of digital content inside your store could be a really, really big topic. We're not going to cover all of that today because it could be down to things like displaying content on your phone or on iPads throughout the store. For the sake of today, we're going to concentrate pretty much on the larger screens, like a service menu or like a big screen that's going to display some action-oriented content inside the store. Because the topic is just a really big one, and there's so many great tools out there. We don't have enough time to cover everything today.
Right. Okay. So then I think let's look at the survey results, and then I'm sure we're going to go into some do's and don'ts and more from there.
Yep, totally. Okay, so my store uses the following. 69% said that they have a TV screen or monitor displaying video content. So 69%, that's great. Kind of surprising though, really, right? Don't you think, Heather? Like,
Yeah, I'm just
I would
like,
expect that to be nearly 100% because I hear that all the time that people want to integrate that stuff into their store.
yeah, and I mean, thinking of every store I go into, there's always some kind of digital display. It's like I'm looking at it, it's giving me new information, it's making me excited to be in the store. So to only see 69, and then 24% say none of the above, so there's nothing. Like,
Right.
yeah, I think this is startling.
Yep. It just means there's opportunity there. We'll talk about why you should, if you're one of the ones that say none of the above, or you're not one of the 69%, we'll talk about the reasons why you might consider that now. 31% said they have a digital service menu, though.
Mhm.
If we had asked this question, oh, I don't know, 5 years ago, it would have been drastically different because it used to be like pulling teeth to get a store to do a digital service menu because it felt too intimidating to do the technology part of it. But we're going to help with a lot with that today too. Interactive displays, the 13.8% there. Who knows what those things are because we didn't ask what exactly they're talking about, but it's interesting that 13.8% have some interactivity going on in the store. iPads, other monitors, things like that with small screens are in 10%. Smartphone viewable content in the store, just a few responses there. Nothing too big there. When we talk about the service menu itself, 34.5% said that their menu is digital with content that changes. 31% said non-existent, which is interesting too, right?
I think this is interesting. Yeah, how do we, yeah,
Well, we'll get there.
okay.
27% said a printed graphic is what their service menu is, which is great. And then 6.9 said digital with static content, meaning that the content doesn't change out on its own. So just interesting, not alarming or anything, but just interesting information. If you have a digital service menu, tell us what type of system drives it. 33% said a small media player connected to their TV. Smart TV features was the next most popular answer. 13% said they don't know what's driving it. Display content from a computer, subscription-based sign, Fire Stick, those kind of things showed up as well. Nothing shocking there.
I'm really glad we're reviewing this. I think there's a lot of opportunity, and I know you're going to give us some really great ideas. So
No, there's such good opportunity. So I asked if you are using, if you're doing a digital service menu, like, and you're having a media player or something like that, what is it? These are the answers there. There's a few different solutions here, and we're going to go into ones that include these and are just very similar to these later in what we're talking about. So we'll get there. If you don't currently have a digital service menu, 57% said they're not planning to use the digital service menu in the next year. So if they don't have one, they're not planning to, 57%, which means approximately 50% are planning to. So, you know, that's a good thing. 21% said they plan on starting to use one in the next year. Within the next 6 months is 14.3. And we plan to start using a digital service menu within 3 months is 7.1. So, you know, the momentum is towards moving into this world. So hopefully today, if you're on the fence, you're thinking about it, hopefully today kind of gets you over the hump.
Interesting. Well, I'm very excited about the people who are planning, and hopefully today's podcast gets the people who maybe aren't planning reconsidering, because we're going to give them some great advice and tips to make it easy. Right.
So I want to talk about why we even want to do these things to begin with. There's a couple big reasons. I mean, there's lots of reasons to do a digital menu or a display in the store, but the two big ones to me are, one is to jumpstart the customer's emotions around cycling. You have an opportunity with a screen with video content to show things that really gets people's blood pumping to get out there and go on a ride. That is some of the stuff, like being in that store with the smells and the sounds and the beautiful products and the other people talking about that stuff. That all gets the emotions going. And that's the beauty of having a brick and mortar store over going to a website. You know, we've got so many great advantages. We want to maximize those by surrounding the customer with things that just get them just itching to get out on their bike.
I am so resonating. Brian, I'm sorry. I just wanted to tell you, I'm still resonating, because when I go into a shop and I see some kind of like awesome content on the screen, that's, you know, an amazing rider, maybe hucking his bike off some jump or riding down some like really nice, like BC covered earth on a mountain bike. All I want to do is have everything that that person has on their, you know, the bike, what they're wearing, and like find that and do that myself.
That's going to create sales, right?
Right.
All right. The second big reason for me is that we want to make the customer more comfortable and informed by helping them with key info. And I always say that little signage around the store or digital menus or information that's displayed in any way inside the store helps a customer ask better questions. So two scenarios here. There's no signage in this store. There's nothing to help the customer. A customer walks into this can be intimidating environment of the bike shop with their bike, and they need a tune-up, let's say. They don't have any idea how much that costs. They're intimidated by the process. They don't know what to ask for because they feel kind of dumb. So if there's nothing to help that customer when they walk in the store, they're forced to go up to the counter and say, I think I need my bike worked on. How much does that cost? And that's kind of an uncomfortable, intimidating thing. However, if you had a menu that was playing while this person was walking in with their bike and they saw that information, then his question changes, or could change, to what's included in that tune-up for $69.95 or whatever it is, you know? So his question feels more informed. It's a much more comfortable question that makes the customer more comfortable in the store. They're going to spend more time. They're going to be happier. And that is a huge benefit. Right?
It's nice to easily see information, not feel lost, not feel like I'm in the wrong spot, not feel like I have to maybe ask people questions that might make me nervous. Or so, I mean, I'm following everything you're saying, Brian. I'm with you.
From the industry, from the digital, from the sign industry, these are stats across all kinds of different categories. 86% of restaurant business owners say their sales increase with digital signage. I know we're not talking about restaurants here, but it seemed kind of a thing in a bike shop environment. 30% increase in average purchases because of digital signage. 35% reduction in perceived checkout waiting times. That's a big one. Like during during COVID, especially when there weren't lines out the door for service, people are standing there waiting. You have an opportunity to be communicating with them the whole time that they're waiting for the person that's checking people out or the person that's going to address the service for them. So that's a great thing.
I've been in a couple of shops where their digital signs like change, and like one screen will be their service menu, then one is like why do business with you, then one is about the warranty program they sell, and then one is about local places to ride or an event coming up. And as I'm like in the store and I'm even talking with the retailer, it's fun for me to see like what I'm still looking at the sign even though I'm talking to the retailer, because it's interesting content, so yep.
Almost 90% or 90% say that the digital signs make their brand more recognizable to consumers. And then I included this little thing here because I wanted us to think about things. You just mentioned a number of them, things that we might be including within the umbrella of what a digital sign can do. Sales and promotions, product information, brand updates, social media content, personalized engagement might be something very specific to a set of customers. QR codes that could be dynamic and changing all the time. Brand storytelling about your store's brand or the brands that you carry in the store. In-store navigation, like you're looking for helmets, go over there. Gathering our customer testimonials could be great on the screen. Gathering customer data. You could get really sophisticated and actually collect information in the store this way. Public health, if let's say we had a global pandemic or something, and you needed to, I know that wouldn't ever happen, but let's say you needed to communicate something about public health, you could do it that way. And then the last one on the list, interestingly, is to provide entertainment. There's all these great reasons, and then entertainment is also on the list. I just feel like there's a lot of value in this.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, don't you think, some do's and don'ts?
Well, I think it's really important because, yeah, I mean, do we want our TV to be a 12-incher, or are we looking for like a 60-incher? And should we include like bad reviews along with good reviews? I mean, yeah, I mean, this is, I might be giving a bad example, but yes. All right, Brian, yes, let's do it.
Well, for what we're talking about today, I would say we're concentrating on larger screens. And, like the cost of screens has come down dramatically in the last few years. So you might as well go big if you can in the store. So, because that is just going to increase the size of the impression that you make and increase those emotions. So,
Brian, I'm not reading ahead, but can I imagine that a don't would be like set up a screen and then like don't put anything on it? That's probably a don't, right?
exactly.
All right. Okay. Let's do your do's and don'ts.
I talk to people all the time that are passionate about putting a screen in their store, and then you go back a month later and the screen's dark. It's like sitting there off, and you're like, really? Why'd you invest the money in that thing? So think about a plan for keeping the content up, which is a lot of what we're going to talk about today. Think about a way to keep the content up before you even put the screen up, so that you're not at risk of this thing going dark, especially, or even if the employee that set that up goes away, like let's make a plan that anybody can sustain for you. Do showcase your promos and try to increase that, or increase sales that way. Tie in your social media. Like if you're posting on Instagram, you may as well include that great imagery in the mix of the stuff that you're showing on screens. Be prepared for the first implementation of your digital sign, whatever we're talking about, to take a little effort. Like getting up to speed on this takes a little bit of effort. It's pretty darn easy, but it's still going to take effort. As you go through, you might find some systems or a system that works not quite exactly like you'd like it to, so you might want to try a different system. Luckily, most everything that we're going to talk about has a free trial, so you can try this stuff out and you're not really committed to stuff. So just be prepared for that little bit of learning curve.
Okay.
And do contact me about implementing this, because I would really think it would be fun if we had a retailer that implemented this with my help. We'll make a great system and we'll track the results. And then we can come back on a future podcast and share those results. Don't you think?
I love it. All right. So I'm imagining now we have all of our listeners like driving to their local, like, Best Buy or whatever, ready to go buy the screen and get started. But then we gotta like give see, you're tracking with me. We gotta give solutions, right? Like, how are we actually gonna do this?
Well, okay. So I'm going to talk about a number of solutions from very simple to more complex and more sophisticated. So here we go. Here's the easy one. Most TVs these days have a built-in ability to play media like a slideshow kind of a thing. Some you can stream that to it. Some can accept a USB or a SD card or something like that. If your TV doesn't even have that, you can get this very inexpensive, or there's a million of them on Amazon or wherever, that are just media players that you hook up to the back of your TV. It has a little remote, makes it really simple. So you purchase that, then you use PowerPoint or Keynote or whatever graphic application you want to use on your end to create your menu or the content for that screen. And then you're just going to save that content as separate JPEGs. And you're going to run it as a slideshow on the player or on the TV.
Seems pretty easy.
It's really easy. The hardest part is putting together the artwork for the menu itself, but everything else goes really quick. So you could definitely do that in no time. The next step, more sophisticated, is a cloud-based system, which there are a million of. And this is the way that they work. You have your TV screen in the store, and then you have a little media player, and a lot of them look very much like this little thing here. Different services provide different types of media players. You can go online and find media players that have a cloud-based system incorporated as part of the product. But basically, you have this little media player that connects to the internet, which connects back to your computer, and you design, you work out your menus, the videos, the content, all of that on your computer. You send that through the internet to the little media player, and it serves it up to the TV.
That looks like a little more challenging, but I've done something like that before and it wasn't that hard actually. So I like it.
No, it's really straightforward these days. The learning curve is definitely not too steep here at all. And when we look at the media players, we'll just kind of take this apart a little bit. The media players, a lot of them look like this one here. This is one for Yodec, and some services want a specific media player. Some are kind of agnostic to the type of media player you have. You can decide based on what your setup is, like which of those solutions make sense for you. But basically, those little media players, they come in different configurations. Some have more memory, some have less memory. Some are, there's different operating systems, which you don't really have to get into too much unless you care about that. You could make decisions based on that. You can see I'm showing solutions for three different companies here, and they look very
similar. If you're listening, you definitely want to come see the YouTube, because he's got pricing, he's got examples. There's a lot in these slides that you want to look at.
You mentioned pricing. I have a few screens here with pricing, and really the point is you can see the features that are included. Nearly every sign solution has different pricing levels, like, just like you've seen in all kinds of other ways. There's more sophisticated tools that you spend a little bit more for, and less sophisticated ones that might be as low as free. So you can basically pick the solution that meets your needs. You can start very basic and move up through the ranks as you get more sophisticated with what you're trying to do inside your store. And, you can tell by the fact that the prices are very similar across these, that there's a lot of similar solutions out there. And there's just, you're going to have to go in, dig through the options that might be interesting to you. But again, like, just start really simple if you're starting out. Like, no need to get overcomplicated.
You can start for free, basically. You buy the TV and then you can basically just get yourself a slide or PowerPoint slide if you wanted to.
Yep. Other thing about the pricing, usually it is a price of like $20 a month per screen. So if you have a big screen showing action video, and then you have another screen that is a service menu, you'd spend $20 for each of those screens for each month. However, if you have, let's say you have a service department and you want 3 service menus that match, are displaying the same content, and you can connect those screens to each other, then you'd only be paying for 1 seat for the software. So you could spend $20 a month and have 3 screens worth of content, but they all match at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
I like it. I like it.
Features that you might find, or that you will find in the solutions that we're talking about. Everybody has customizable templates. I mean, that's kind of the whole point. And I would personally go in, because everybody has a free trial period, go in and play with the customization template process, just to see what kind of clicks with you, because everybody approaches it a little bit different. I'm going to show you specifically one of them here in a few minutes, but just experiment with that and see what works for you, so that you just are able to use it as a tool very easily.
I love
Ability to
I'm sorry, Brian. I was gonna say I love this slide because it shows, like, in some of these systems you can integrate your apps and whatnot and really bring people back to, you can showcase your Strava club, you could showcase your Instagram or Facebook feeds. And if people are seeing these, it's putting into their brain, oh, I should whip out my smartphone right now and join, this retailer on this journey. So I think it's cool.
Yeah, the functionality, there's all kinds of things you can do. And some solutions are stronger at that than others, but you can be putting on a menu, you could be putting the time of day, you could be putting weather forecasts or social media updates, news, a calendar about upcoming events, QR codes, websites, games, all kinds of different things that you could be doing there. Most of these systems offer daypart scheduling too, so that what's on your menu on a Saturday morning might be drastically different than what it is on a Thursday evening. So you can get sophisticated that way too. And then they all offer you the ability to get more and more functionality and get more in depth with everything that you're doing with those screens inside the store.
Mm.
Then the last thing that we're looking at here is the fact that you can control a number of screens from one location. Say you have 3 locations, and you want the service menu to be the same in every location. You can, well, I mean, it doesn't even matter if it's the same in all locations. You can just serve that up from wherever you're at, push it through to those screens, and then you can change things at will. Like, you can just change it whenever you want to, in all of the stores or in one of the stores. I mean, the control that you have over everything is really great.
Mm. I think there's a lot of opportunity here. Whoa, what is this slide? Oh my gosh.
I built this list. This is a short list of options for you. As soon as I put this list out, somebody's going to say, well, what about this other one over here? Because there's a lot of different options out there. But in me poking around to see what options I felt like were the best, I narrowed it down to these. And they are in many cases very similar, but like I said, you need to kind of poke around and just see what fits. Like Novasign, and we're gonna this is, you can tell me how you want to do this, but I figured we could give this deck to anybody that's watching this so that they can actually click on these things and get directly to the info.
I think that's cool. We could like link it in the show notes, maybe put it in a folder. And this is a really nice resource, Brian. Brian, you're a really nice guy.
Oh, well, thank you.
This is huge. All right, let's do
All
it.
right, Mark, let's
Yeah.
talk about Novasign. When I was looking at their stuff, what struck me is the versatile templates that they have. They have a billion templates, and a lot of them aren't going to apply. They're not going to be applicable to a bike shop, of course, but they might inspire something that helps you to think through the design process. So that's a good thing to be thinking about. Yodeck, what sticks out to me there is there's a way to do it for free once you buy their little media player. And I wanted to show you what Yodeck looks like. We're inside the application now, and I set up this little fake thing where basically it's as easy as just importing images, dragging things from the apps over here into your layout, and just dragging things around, formatting it however you'd like to, and then you hit save. And then you can preview it. This will take a second. So what I just built would show up on the screen like this. The weather is updating right there. Hold on, it'll come. There we go. So this is, I mean, it's that simple. Like it would take a few minutes to set up a simple menu like this kind of a thing. You can incorporate the videos in there. You can do all kinds of different things, and then you can change that as you go too.
And it looks so pro. Like it looks so pro.
Right?
I love it. Okay. What else, Brian? What else?
OnSign TV is the thing that stuck out to me is they're compatible with multiple operating systems, Android, Windows, Chrome. So like you're using a Mac and you want your Mac to be driving what's on the screen, you can use their system for that. It also has tools for utilizing the built-in capabilities of some smart TVs these days. So that feels like a good thing to look at. Telemetry TV has a really nice set of video tutorials that I think are really helpful. So it helps the learning curve to be not as steep. It also runs on multiple operating systems.
Brian, I have a question. So
Yep.
we've got the people headed to Best Buy. Our listeners are buying TVs. They're coming back. They're walking into their store. They're pumped. Their staff is like, wow, something big is going on here. All right, now they're accessing your list. They're picking the one that works for them. They've got it together. They're throwing it up on their screen. Their staff is like, wow, my boss is awesome. They're super smart. How often are we changing these? Like the one you just showed us, like how, like every month? Like we don't want it to get stale and old. I mean, the weather changes, but
I would say the more the better. Like the beauty of these tools is you can, well, okay, one of the best things about these tools is a lot of this stuff can be automated. So you don't even have to change it for it. You don't have to manually change it for it to be updated all the time. Like the social media feeds, that's always going to change out based on what you're doing social media wise. So that means that content feels fresh all the time. That's awesome. If you do have to manually change things, think about how often a customer might come into the store, and just make sure that they don't come in twice and see the same thing.
yeah.
Because the fresher that feels, the more it feels like you're just on top of stuff, and the more fun you're having, the more, just more current with everything that's going on you are. So I would change it as much as you possibly can, because the tools make it so easy.
Brian, I have another question for you. What
Hit
if
me.
we get a screen back by the service department or whatever, and then maybe we want to have another screen that's got the Moto TV on it because Moto TV sounds so cool. Is that too much screen or like what do you think about that?
I hear people, the only pushback I hear with screens is maybe some stores don't want too many screens because they feel like it can start to feel chaotic.
Like one of those sports bars, like a Buffalo Wild Wings?
Yeah, if you get to Buffalo Wild Wing level, then maybe you've gone too far. But you can also choose what's on the screens. Um, let's say you have a big screen and it's playing I don't know, if you don't want it to be chaotic, a slideshow where the image changes every few minutes. That still is accomplishing the goals that we're talking about, but it doesn't add to the chaos. It just is serving up a lot of different riding experiences maybe inside the store. I don't think you need to go crazy putting up screens. Um, I would just get a feel for what makes sense for your individual store. And honestly, people don't have a lot of real estate to give up to a screen anyway,
I
because
understand.
you're displaying products. You've got bikes covering a lot of the store, and usually it's not a matter of how many screens you could fit into all that empty space because you don't have a whole lot of empty space.
All right.
All right,
This,
so
yeah, okay.
no, if you have another question, hit me.
I had one more question. So like if we have people on the fence, maybe they're looking like they've got their Apple Maps, they're searching for their nearest Best Buy, but they haven't put the car like in that direction yet. Like what's the like if you're on the fence, how do we push them over? Like what is the easiest, simplest thing they could do or why should they do this? Like give us something. Give us something. I think it's important, but
Is this podcast sponsored by Best Buy?
I know it's the only place I know to buy a TV.
No, you can buy TVs online these days too, Heather.
Oh, okay. All
You could
right.
go to Walmart
All right.
too.
Let's just say the unnamed TV store.
Um, let's say you don't have a Best Buy in your area, you could still get a TV probably. So, the what's the easy way? Like you really don't have to worry about it. Almost any TV you buy today is going to have the capability to pull off what we're talking about because they all have little inputs with an HDMI on the back of them. So you can hook up one of these little players to it. Some of them have built-in capability. Most of them have built-in capabilities to play a simple slideshow. So there's very little barrier for entry here. You could just go get a TV that fits the space that you need. You could literally stick it on the wall and then figure out what system you're going to put behind that because it's all going to work.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stop asking you any questions about driving anywhere to get anything and let you take it from here.
All right, let's say you've gone to Best Buy, you've got your TV up, and you're looking at View Neo. What stuck out to me about View Neo is that they really feature advanced options. Like, let's say that you wanted to put RFID tags on some products and you want to make it so when you pick up this shoe on the shoe wall, specific content pops onto the screen about that shoe. You can do that with Vuneo. That's the kind of thing that they specialize in. Or there's a screen in the store and you go touch the screen and say that you're looking for a certain bike or a certain jersey or something like that. You could touch that screen and lights come on in the other part of the store that shows where you need to go for that product. Pretty sophisticated for what you want to deal with on a day-to-day basis, but you could do these things if you wanted to. Screen Cloud, they're hardware agnostic, so they pretty much run on anything. Just go take a look. The last two are a little bit more outliers, but they've got some very interesting features. Can I go into those?
Yes, please.
All right, good. Atmosphere TV. I'm sure that everybody has seen, whether you realized it or not, you've seen screens running Atmosphere. they make content for screens. And you see this in bars, and you see it I was just in a bowling alley that had this stuff running. They do all of these different channels of different kinds of content. Their drawback, honestly, is that they don't have a channel that's specifically dedicated to cycling.
Right.
But there are good things to take in their system. Let's see. I want to go to Red Bull. There we go. This
Ooh.
kind of content, there will be definitely a lot of cycling specific content in here. It's just plain interesting stuff to watch. It fills the screen very nicely with fun things to watch. Every few minutes, there's a commercial in there. And they offer some basic digital sign options. So you could build information about your store in around the videos that are running on these different channels. It's served up 24/7. Once you've got it set up, you don't have to think about it again until you want to change the channels that you're watching. There's sound if you want it. There's no sound if you don't want it. It is absolutely free. So all of this content can come through to you free if you just have their player on for 40 hours a month.
Wow.
Yeah. So with the basic, their digital sign abilities are not super sophisticated. That's not where their target is, but you could do some basic stuff and have really interesting content on screens. And it's like, why not? I mean, you could even have that as a backup and take advantage of it.
One of our retailers in Canada during a P2 meeting used Red Bull TV in his store. And yeah, it's pretty cool because they feature a bunch of different things. Brian, I love all these resources. I think this is a fabulous list.
Moto TV is another one that's super interesting because it is bike specific. They handle a lot of industries. Well, their verticals, you can see them there: power sports, marine, snow, auto, running, bike, surf. The beauty of Moto TV is that they find the content and they serve it up to your system. And then they give you the ability to, like, if you do this sales L bracket plan here, I'll play that. It plays the video that is brand specific. Like you could, if you're a dealer that carries Trek and Giant and Santa Cruz, they will serve up videos that are Trek, Giant, Santa Cruz.
Very cool.
And they provide that content. You don't have to manage that. It just happens magically. And then you can customize what happens around it. Their formatting, they've got some basic formatting that you can do to the shell of this. It doesn't change it super dramatically. So if you want a ton of information about a service menu and you need a very specific design, this is probably not the tool. But if you're filling screens and your emphasis is really on having good brand specific information playing all the time, this is a really, really good resource. And they have a different version that we're looking at here. Also runs video, but gives you a little bit more ability to customize for your shop's brand and the service menu and things like that.
I like this Moto TV. This is inspiring me, and it has so many options for retailers that it can look truly like theirs with great content. And
Yeah, it's super professional, and you could have this running this afternoon in your store. Like, it would be really easy to do. There is a media player to be purchased there, and this service costs a little bit more. It's like between 119 and 199 if you have a number of screens a month. But the advantage is big because, again, it's brand specific. Oh, you can integrate your own content in there too. So let's say you have your own videos, your own testimonials, your own product photography. You can integrate that you can weave it right in with the brand content that's being delivered to the system. So it's really straightforward, really bomb-proof, and they manage everything for you. So, just a really, really good resource.
Brian, once again, you are providing our members, our listeners, our friends, our retailer friends, so much information. And did you say that we're gonna make this available? So we're gonna make this list available.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot. On Moto TV, I talked to them, and they're willing to give MBDA dealers $20 off a month.
What?
So
Seriously?
if you contact Moto TV, go to their contact link on the website, and in there, make sure you mention what city you're in so that they know who needs to help you, and then mention that you're an MBDA member, you'll get $20 off a month.
Brian,
Right?
once again, you are just like the bomb. Thank you for that. That's awesome. So listeners, go ahead, show notes. We'll link to this short list of digital sign and video solutions provided by Fixture Lab at the bottom, that Moto TV link. Brian even has a note in there to let you know that if you mention, you can get that discount. There's lots of opportunity here. There's lots of easy ways to get involved. That survey, if you did our survey to give us your information so we could kind of build out today's content, thanks for that, because it allows us to think about, okay, what's happening now and what kind of resources can we provide? And Brian, this is fantastic. And your request, if someone is listening and is going to go ahead and get this going, let us know. Let us know the impact. Let us know what your customers say, what your staff thinks, if you're selling more services, if you're selling more add-on items, whatever it is, right, Brian? We want to know.
I want to see this happening. Like, I'd be happy to help out. If you want to contact me, I'm happy to help get you going. And then I would love to be able to share the results so that, we just kind of close the loop here.
Yeah, questions might be, what size TV, where in my store do I put it? I'm thinking about doing this content. What do you think, Brian? It could be anything, right, Brian? Those questions are all good.
Yep.
I love it. I
Good
love
stuff.
it. All right. So if you are listening, any questions that you might have for future podcasts, send them over to design@nbda.com. Today, we really dove into digital signage and video solutions. I hope it was a great resource for everyone listening. Remember, MBDA YouTube channel, you can see the slide. You can see Brian and my amazing, wonderful faces. And I hope we got you smiling, a little bit of laughter in there about, where you might shop or whatnot. But we want to get you thinking, make sure we're making a difference in your retail environment. If you're listening and you're not a retailer, maybe you're a brand representative or you are on the supply side or advocacy side, share this content with your retailers and point them in our direction. We are truly here to help. Brian, thank you so much.
Thank you. I can't wait till next month.
Awesome. All right. And with this we go. I'll see you later, Brian. Thank you. Thanks,
Bye.
listeners. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for listening to Bicycle Retail Radio. This podcast is designed specifically for the bicycle industry, dedicated to strengthening our retailers and cycling community. If it is your first episode, we urge you to take the time and listen to our past episodes.